We'll skip the GPL. Okay, so after finishing talking about GPL, which anyone watching this video should go to the internet and search for GNU General Public License and then read about that, which is what Linux is based on. Now we're looking at this project called Windows Share Configuration with Linux Access. We're going to create a Windows Share and see if we can actually connect to it from our Linux system. So you can fire up your Linux Mint, but at the same time we're going to create a share over here in Windows. Yes, Michael? Good idea. Log in as your account because you need to be administrator to create shares. And I'm going to create a share on this machine following this set of instructions. This is something that's very handy, sharing even with other Windows systems. It's not just for sharing with Linux. Having a network share. And you already should have capability. If you go to this PC, you may see other network shares connected. And I see down in my network locations, I have a share. I'm connected to this particular share. That's actually my computer in my office. Here I have a share to machine number 24. And for some reason, it looks like I have two shares connected to machine number 24. I only need one of them, so I'm going to disconnect this one by right-clicking, disconnect. And I can get rid of a share. If there's a share that I no longer need to use, or I haven't connected to it because it requires a password, it'll show that red X, showing me that it knows about this share, but if I actually want to connect to it, it'll bring up, either it'll connect using my current credentials, or it'll ask me for a password. Yes? We're creating the share under Windows, and then we're going to access it from Linux. You actually can do it the other way, but that's a little more complicated. We'll make our Windows share that then we're going to connect to from our Linux system. So I'm going to go create the share on my D drive here. You get to choose wherever you share from. So one thing to keep in mind is putting it somewhere where you might have the word shared in it, so anyone browsing to it or putting a file in there will have an idea that, hey, I'm putting this in some public place. So I have a folder called Public Shared over in this drive. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to make a folder called CS230. Now the name of the folder can be completely separate from the name of the share, but to just avoid confusion, I like to name my folder very close to the same as the name of the share. So I'm going to create a new folder here in my Windows system. New folder. And since my share is going to be called CS230, I'm going to call my folder CS230. And I think, let's see, I think I can even put the $sign in that name. Let me right-click. I'll rename this. Let's put $1 in that name and just see. I don't think it complains about that. Yep, I could put $1 in file names. Doesn't complain. When $1 is in a share name, though, this is very important because you need to explain that here. When I put a $sign in the share name, that makes it an invisible or a hidden share. Normally, I can go out and, you ever notice this network icon here? I'm going to bring up another file explorer because I know sometimes it takes time for that to bring up the information. But I'm going to start a new file explorer here for a second. And if I ever browse over to that network location, just click here, it'll show me shares that it sees out there on the network. Public shares. And it looks like some share called on a computer called Adam has a share. It looks like many of our classroom PCs have a share. Mr. Glock has a share. Now they may be private, so I may be able to see them but not be able to write to them. Let's see. And this is something that when you're thinking about network behavior, that even though you see shares out there, don't necessarily mean that you really have the right to just go explore, although they're sitting there. So I know this guy, so I'm going to go explore on his PC. If I double click, let's see if any shares show up. Look at that. There's some pub docs on this W10 share. If I go into there, oh, look at that. I see some interesting things in there. And I have shared these because I wanted to be able to access these files from the printer up on the second floor. It actually has the capability of visiting and looking at shared documents. And I can print out particular files for our Friday Nighters ministry. So that's a share that is not hidden. We are going to create a hidden share. If I put a $sign in the share name, it will not appear when somebody browses over to my machine showing a share. That's the point of the $sign. It makes it a little more hidden. Although it's not super secure, it's generally hidden from the average user. So people should generally be careful about creating shares. Sometimes when a machine is created, it automatically creates a share. But if you know particular machines out there, just don't, it's not considered polite to just be generally exploring to their computer. Although we can see from security-wise, they've kind of left it open, whatever share is there. Maybe they want to have that share. But I'm not going to go exploring to these unless I have a good reason to. Okay, now we want to see how to create a share just like that. That's currently showing up on this W10 machine. Here's how it's done. Right-click on the folder you created with whatever name it has and go to Properties. And there is a Sharing tab that appears right there. I never use the normal share button. I like to use the advanced sharing. I always use advanced sharing. It's because it has more options and I want to know what exactly all the details are. So I click advanced sharing. And under here, I decide to share this folder, turn the check mark on. By default, it gives the share name the same name of the folder. If it doesn't have a $sign in there, I will put one in there to make it a hidden share. And I can put comments in here, shared as part of CS230 assignment. Oh, I hit enter. I can go back and edit that. And this can be connected to from any machine, either Windows or Linux. And I don't want to leave yet because I need to set the permissions. So now that I've made a comment, gave it the name, click Permissions, and I want to give full control permission to everyone. But this is share permissions. What this means is if someone has security permissions, they will be able to see the share, but the security permissions actually determine whether or not they can really create or change files. So you can think of this as everyone could get in and attempt to read or write, but their real capability will be determined by the security permissions. So there's two permissions. There's a share permission. Think of that as the door that lets them into the folder, but to actually try to change something, they have to have security permissions also. Share permissions, okay, we'll let everyone see and attempt to change, create, or create a file or change a file. And I click OK. And another OK. So now that file is being shared, but yet the security permissions have not yet been set. So I can now go over to here under Security tab, and I can give if I want to make this completely public, I can edit my security settings, change permissions, go ahead and edit permissions, and we're going to add the everyone user just like over in the shares. We're going to make this completely public, read-writable by everyone. So I'm going to add, and I'll add the user named everyone. It's actually a group. And now everyone is in the list, and I select everyone and give everyone full control. So there is a real public share, not only for reading, but anyone can write files to that share. But can you see how that's kind of a dangerous thing to do if someone wants to attack my machine? Can you think of a way they could attack my machine by me having a share? What could they do to me to mess up my machine? If I have a public share, what could be done to try to attack my machine? And as you get to your security class, you'll be becoming an expert at this. I could do what? So I could have a program with a virus and go put it on your share. Now, if I have antivirus, my antivirus should see that new file being created and should scan for it, but it may be a virus that hasn't been detected yet. It may be a code that, yeah. So they could put nasty malware on that share. What's another thing they could do to mess up my machine? What could they do to mess up my share? They could put malware there. What other possibilities could they do? Think of denial of service kind of things. What could they do? A couple ways they could slow down my machine or disable my machine. Do what? Something like that. Yeah, they could constantly be writing files to it back and forth. Read a file, write a file, read a file, write a file, and get my machine so busy serving files from the share that they very much could slow down my machine. Another thing they could do, they could just start writing gobs and gobs of data to my share and fill up my drive. And if that's on my C drive, guess what happens when your C drive fills up? Your poor system locks up. And it usually doesn't crash and get corrupted, but suddenly it has to stop because disk full. You go to try to do something, disk full. You save a file, disk full. And you're stuck. So sharing a folder is a dangerous thing. So good practice is, if you're ever making public shares, you put it on a completely separate partition from your system. You can set limits on how large that folder can grow. Ideally, you put it on a completely separate hard drive and partition on that drive, so that drive, if it's busy, it isn't keeping your system drive busy. So shares are it's like a very potential vulnerability. And of course, if there are bugs in the actual sharing software called server message blocks, in which there are, sharing folders is a vector for malware. Even though you have antivirus, they can get through the server message block, which is the basis for file sharing. So it's a dangerous thing to do, but we are sharing people. We want to have the convenience of being shared, to have this shared network location. Yes? No. You'd have to have some network antivirus kind of thing where you see this traffic going on and you say, wait a minute, that machine seems to be doing something nasty to this other machine, and the routers and things can block traffic from that device. That's where network security comes in. It's a huge deal for security. When you see bad activity on the network, regardless of whether there's antivirus on those machines, you can block the traffic by actually seeing the malware go across the network. Morgan, you had a question? Well, yeah, put a $sign. Is there a hidden? Where is that? Oh, there. That's the actual hidden file from my system. So no, we don't want to turn on hidden there. And I'm not sure why the read-only got applies. I'm going to go uncheck the read-only. I didn't notice that there. So this makes it hidden from me on the system, or from the normal user of the system. So no, we'll leave that open. That's typically of a share. You make it wide open. And then I click Apply. And even before testing it from Linux, I can see whether that share is here, available, by going to any file explorer and typing in 2 localhost. I see the visible shared. There's a CS230 share that we created before. Let's see if I can see my share that's hidden. Let's localhost CS230 $. And now let's try to create a file there. New. Make a folder there with your name. New folder. Manning was here. I have created a folder on that share. Yes, Michael? Notice when I go to just my machine, browse to the address of my machine, which if you're browsing to your own, it's localhost. If you're browsing to a machine you know the address of, you can put 2 backslashes. The address in this particular one, I know it's 128. No, sorry, 10.128.7.98. I know that's the name of this machine here. And there I see my shares that are not hidden. To actually go to a hidden share, you have to actually know the name of it. CS230 $. That's the only way I can find it. I have to have someone tell me what that name is. Kind of like a wireless hidden SSID. What? can set up one machine on the network with lots of disk space, make a share there, and rather than having people that want to share big files with everyone, rather than have to have copies of it, they can just say, oh, put it on the public share. Now you know how to create a public share for any company. That's my point. Oh, it's public, but it needs some credentials. I use student, user student, password student. It needs credentials. Now, since it's public, all we need to know is who is one of the everyone. So I need to actually know an account on that machine. So I'll fit in the everyone, which is a student and password student. If you know you have an account on that machine, you can actually use your own user account. But since we know there's a student on every machine, we might as well use it. I don't remember, is it lowercase student password? Actually, lowercase student. Go ahead, create a folder, and see how if someone has a share like this, if you wanted to mess them up, you can find some huge file and blast it over there and fill up their share. Yes. Well, you don't even need to go find it. You can put right up there in your address bar. Here's what they would do. If you wanted to get to Morgan's share, you go to the Windows Explorer, 2 backslashes, backslash, since we know the name of the share should be CS230 $sign. You can do that for any machine as long as you know its IP address. Here's the way if you know the NetBIOS name of the machine. You can use the name of the machine. But I find it convenient just to use the IP address. They don't have to worry about NetBIOS working properly. So 2 backslashes, the IP address of the machine, and the name of the share should get you there. Yes. If it's not connecting, try this. I have seen sometimes in the username, even though we know there's a user student, sometimes I've seen I have to do this for the username. Put workgroup /students. Try this for the user if just the regular student doesn't work. And I'll do the same thing from mine. You notice all we're doing here so far, we're only connecting from Windows to Windows. But it's helpful to make, this basically helps us to check that it's working. And Nathan, I'm going to try to do the same thing you're doing. I'm trying to connect to Morgan's, put a 4 there, /CS230 $sign, 230 $sign. And it's not connecting for me. Is anyone else able to connect to Morgan's share? Michael, are you able to get to Morgan's share on the .4? I'm not able to get to hers. Yeah, it is spinning a little bit. And it's saying it cannot access 10.128.7.4 /CS230. So I'm having trouble connecting to yours. And before doing some troubleshooting, I'm going to just try Michael's and just see maybe it's my system having trouble. I can get right to Michael's. So I can connect to Michael's. Let me connect to Dan's. What's the name of yours, Dan's? It's not CS230. Dash what? Dan. And it's your number 6, right? CS230 dash Dan. It's not working for me. I don't think. It's thinking for a while there. I've got a problem connecting to... Is that the right address there, Dan? CS230 dash Dan. Oh, Daniel. Okay. Well, you said Dan. I went exactly by what you told me. Oh, there we go. Now I got it. All right. Okay. So I made it to Daniel's and Michael's. Let's see if I can get Nathan's. Everyone made it to Nathan's yet? And Nathan's is 91011, right? CS230. I'm still unable to get to Morgan's. I'm going to go try that again. On Morgan's here, let me do that from here. 10.128.7.4 /CS230 $. I'm unable to connect to 7.4 CS230. Let's try 11. I'm still unable to connect to CS to 11. All right, so let's try. Is anyone else able to connect to Dan's or Morgan's? So it did work for you. Anyone else? Did everyone else able to connect to Morgan's? I'm unable. I did that when I tried to connect to Morgan's. I see new folders there. That's something Dan created. Dan was here. Okay, so Dan, you're able to connect. Oh, okay. But they were able to connect to yours. Now, there may be something maybe when a lot, I don't think when a lot of people are trying to connect, it should slow down. It shouldn't be that complex a process. Now remember, 10.128.7.4 Remember, we got to go to the hidden share. He has a file called share. We want to go to the CS230 $. See, that's slowing us down. Let's check your settings on your share. We're not able to, seem to be not able to connect to yours. Okay, try more choices. Use a different account. And I'll use work group /2. What type of work group do you use? Sometimes I've seen this. Work group. not seeing a complete error-free problems. Now that we know at least we can connect to some shares, now we want to see how we can connect to a share from a Linux system. Okay, so now this is a great way to make sure that, okay, my shares should be working. I know I can connect from a Windows system. Now it's time to try it from a Linux system because we're in the Linux section. Let's see how we can connect to a Windows share from inside of Linux. So I have to go start up my virtual machine now so I can connect using Linux Mint. And I'm going to go to a machine that I have Mint connected to. Yes, Michael, you have a question? Okay, good idea. Weird. So it's asking for local admin credentials to just connect. Huh. Right. Well, I'm getting the workstation started up here. Workstation. Why don't I have VMware Workstation on my machine? I thought I had VMware Workstation over here. What happened to my VMware Workstation is gone from here. I thought I had Workstation 14. I'll connect to a machine where I have it. All right. I know I have it over here. Let's connect to my machine. See if it'll let me. Oh, looks like somebody shut down number 25. Very much. Check its settings. Well, let's see if I might have VirtualBox here. Let's try VirtualBox. Here, I have VirtualBox. I'll fire up my Linux VirtualBox machine here. And let's run up see if my Mint Manning is working. Now we're going to try to connect from Linux. It shouldn't be terribly hard. Let's see. Uh-oh. My Mint machine seems to be broken. Oh. I think I remember now. Hyper-V kills my machines. Yep. I forgot. Installing Hyper-V has messed me up on this machine, so I have to go to a different machine. Question, Nathan? Your virtual machine? It was before, but now it's no longer bridged. Well, you may still actually be able to connect to Windows Share. Let's give it a try. All right, now I'm connecting to my machine that went to sleep on me. I'm on that machine. Now I'm going to fire up my virtual machine. There's my Mint Cinnamon. Firing it up. Now, have you found where you can connect to a network share from your Linux system yet? It has made it fairly friendly. I can show you from the command line. I know how to do it, but there's also we should be able to do it from the menu. We'll try that as well. And I'm going to, even while I'm waiting, you can go check to see other people's suggestions for connecting from Mint. Linux, connect, Windows, share. While I'm firing it up, All right, getting logged into my Mint system. There is a more complicated way from the command line. It's not super hard, but I want to see if the Mint menu gives me a more friendly way before I show you the mount command that I can use to connect a share. We'll be doing that, but first we want to see if there's an easy way. Is there, under the file system, is there a way to do Windows sharing? Let's try it first from here. Can I browse to that same address using my file browser under Linux? Let's see here. It looks like it doesn't let me type in a file address. Can I do a go to search for files or share? I was hoping on Mac I can do a connect to server on the go command. I don't want to do search for files. Let's see if there we go. Connect to server under file. Let's try this. File, connect to server under the file browser in Mint. Look at that. Let's try the server name. Let's put in the IP address, 10.128. One that I know is working. I know I've connected to Michael, so I'm going to try his. 10.128.7.5. The folder, let's see, it's not public FTP. Yeah. Go ahead and try Michael's. You can try the others that you know is working. So now I turned it to Windows Share, and now the share is going to be CS230$. Underneath File, go to Server. Well, once you change this to Windows Share, it'll change the amount of information showing that it asks for. Yep. This is a context switching dialog. As you choose a different type, different choices show up. Another way to make it confusing. Now here's another thing though I have to tell. Under Linux, I have to tell it where to actually make the share over here. So this folder, we'll just leave it as root as slash for now and see what happens. Now under the details, this is where I could either leave that blank or type workgroup here to be safe. Username student, password student, and make sure you get the spelling right. And let's see what happens now as I try to connect. Looky there. It shows the folder and my desktop. And I see the file, and I'm going to make a folder here. Let's see. Create new folder. Manning from Mint. There we go. I have visited and created that file there on Michael's machine. Do you see it there, Michael? And what share are you trying to mount? This is from Mint. Now we need to check under Mint. What is your IP address? So we have our addresses of everyone. Now, Nathan, I think this should work even though you may be not using Bridged. Okay. And see on my desktop, it shows that share, and it shows a little network icon on top of the folder, reminding me that that is a network share. So here's the easy way using the user interface. But I want to show you the more advanced way. But first, let's test this by connecting to all our shares. So again, it's File, Connect to Server. It remembers my choice of type of share, and I'm going to try to connect to everyone's. I'll connect to Morgan's, same share name. Now it came right back from an attempt to connect to Morgan's machine. Right away I got connection timed out. So I'm going to jump over to Daniel's before coming back and trying to troubleshoot this. Oh, that's right. Daniel has a different name. He decided to be different. Right. There we go. Got the Daniels. Okay. Gonna get to Nathan's now. Yep, got right to Nathan's. Let's come back and troubleshoot. But other people have been able to connect to Morgan's, right? So we're pretty sure Morgan's was working. Let me try it one more time from here, and then we'll come over to Morgan's and just do some troubleshooting. Sometimes it just acts a little flaky. And one time it'll work, and one time it won't. All right. I'm getting an immediate timeout, so I'm going to come over to Morgan's machine and let's see if we can figure out what may be slightly different with her share. To show you how you can actually see who is connected to you in your shares. Now that we've tweaked Morgan's a little bit, she was doing some troubleshooting, turning on and off settings. Now I think we got them back. Try again. And So it got a little strange for Morgan. Now let me show you a little different way now. Here's how we can now see who is sharing. I'm going to go back to my Windows folder now. Go back to your Windows folder. On this PC, you can right-click Manage. Right-click Manage on this PC. Now you can get, basically we're going to computer management. So you can use the Windows key to get to computer management. Underneath shared folders here under computer management and underneath shares, I can see what shares are being shared from my computer, and I can see sessions of the connections I've made to other computers. Now, this computer I have not yet shared to other computers, and I have not made that share because I'm on machine number 25, so I don't see the connections. Let's go up to my PC over here now, the instructor's machine, and I'm going to go do that same thing. On this PC, right-click Manage, and it's coming up a little slower. Here comes my computer management. Now I go to my shared folders, and in my shares here, look at all the shares, and one of those is the CS230 $ share. And you can see exactly what folder is being shared from that share. So very helpful. And I can see who has actually connected to my share, and I see 0 connections to my shares. You should see numbers next to your shares showing you how many connections have been made to it. So we're doing a lot of powerful things here. Sharing a folder, viewing the shares to it. Now I want to stop the sharing part here because I want to get you starting to discuss the items here on the take-home midterm. Let's come back to that. And here's the various things we've done. Take a screenshot of when you've made your connection from Windows or from Linux. But let's go up to the take-home part of your midterm here on our assignments. We call it a script because basically a script is just a kind of a listing of commands that you could do right from the command prompt. But if you type them in a file, they can be run as a script. So let's get you started on this. And of course, this is open book, so you can get resources. You know how to create folders, but we want the script to create a folder using the first parameter. And let me show you how that's done. I'm going to come over to my Mint system, and I'm going to edit it here. Let's see what we have for editing. I could use a text editor that's built into the system. Let's see under accessories. Let's see, what do I have? I have a document viewer. I thought there would just be a simple text editor. Let's go down into the T's. There it is. Simple text editor. Later on, more advanced, we can learn about the special editor called VI, but that's confusing right now. Let's use it as a simple text editor. And here's how we can write commands in there, just as you would write them at the command line. I'm going to just write the script that does this, that makes a directory. So I put a comment, create a directory, /folder. Directories and folders are the same things. And according to the script specification, the folder name is going to be named by the first parameter. Well, parameters under Linux scripts, you just put a $sign in front of the number of the parameter. So I can do this. mkdir, because that's the command for creating a folder inside of Linux. $1 means take the first parameter given to me and give that to the name of the folder that I'm doing a mkdir of. Now I'm going to save this script. I think Control-S will work. Look at that. Control-S works. I'll go ahead and put it in my documents folder, and I'm going to call it midterm script. Name midterm script. I like to put .sh just so I'm reminding myself that that's a script file. But Linux doesn't care about the suffixes. It's only for your own edification that you give it a .sh. And now to see that whether the script works, I'm going to bring up a command shell, a terminal, we call it in Linux, not command prompt, although it's the same kind of thing as command prompt. I do a ls instead of a dir under Linux. I cd to my documents folder. And now I do a ls, and there's my script I just created. To run the script, I type sh, and then the name of my script. Start typing it and hit tab. And I have to give it the first parameter. Let's call the first parameter Arthur. So it should create a folder named Arthur if the script is working. Let's find out. It doesn't say anything. Let's do a ls to see, and look at that. A folder named Arthur got created. So in the text editor, I just had to do a mkdir $1. $1 means the first parameter. And I could put comments in there. $1 is first parameter. $2 is my second parameter. So whenever I do a sh, my script name, whatever comes after that is my first parameter. If a space and then something else, that would be my second parameter. If I put it in quotes, what's in quotes is my first parameter. So see how that first thing would do? And of course, putting comments, and I'm missing a comment here, your leading comment should be your name and date, this class, MLA style title. So author, information, that kind of thing, etc., etc. Now we have time to look at the next thing, get you started here, and then the rest is up to you. And of course, you can ask me questions along the way if you really get stumped, and I can give you clues. The next thing it was asking you to do is create files named parameter 2-1, parameter 2-2 inside the parameter 1 folder. All right, well, it would be well, let's see, we need to create a file. Well, a quick way to create a file under Linux is I could run the date command and send that information to that file. So I could do date, gives me the system date, but take its output using the greater than symbol and send it to the first parameter's name slash first parameter name -1. Oh, sorry, was that second parameter? Parameter 2-1, sorry, $2-1. Do the same thing to the other file, date, send it to that folder, $2-2. And do the same thing again, first parameter slash $2-2. What this is, or sorry, -3. What this is doing is, let's put comments in here explaining what I'm doing. Create a file in folder $1 created above. Actually, we're creating multiple files. Now I can save that. I can keep it open and come run the script again. And this time I'm going to give it, I'll call it Manning will be the second parameter. So inside of that folder Arthur, there should be 3 files created. It's going to complain because that folder Arthur already exists, but the script will go on. Or no, it doesn't go on. Well, let's find out if it goes on. Let's do a ls Arthur. And yes, the script did complete. Even though it complained, oh, you asked me to create that folder, Arthur, it's already there. So if you test this script, don't worry if you get to this and you see this complaint. That just means, yes, it's doing the mkdir, but it's already there and it gives you that warning message. So as you build your script based on the specifications given here, and look at that, I've already shown you how you can display current date and time. The command date. And I've given you kind of some very basic commands under Linux. In the advanced system administration, we spend more time on memorizing a lot more commands under Linux. I'll stop there because we're out of time. And I'll just run it. Remember how I run it? You just say sh and then the name of your script. And there's multiple files that it actually, when I do this, the greater than to the file, it will actually overwrite that file if it was there. Here, mkdir refuses to recreate a directory if it's already there, and it gives you that error message. But don't worry about the error message. We just know that your script is working. So you're welcome to use the text editor under Mint and see if you can work through these scripts. Appending, remember the double greater than lets you append output to an existing file. All right, we'll stop there. If you don't have the wget utility, do you know what to do to get it? Let's try it. See if we have wget. Oops. Oh, it does work, so you don't have to worry about installing wget. All right, we'll stop there. If you have any questions, send me email. And have to. For some reason we can't allow drinks in here, Morgan. Gonna have to ban you from having your water bottle in here. I'm just using a text editor and just creating a text file. Just look under accessories, I think. There is a VI editor. I'm not going to make you learn VI right now. That's enough learning on its own. Just get VI to work. Was that just plain water, Morgan? Oh, okay. Well, if we haven't permanently damaged the keyboard, it should just dry out. Did some go inside the keyboard? It looks like it got a little bit on there. What you could do, you could unplug the keyboard just for safety, and then once it dries out, there shouldn't be anything damaged. I think if it's going to be damaged, the damage may have already happened. But just in case, it wouldn't hurt to unplug it for now, and kind of shake it around, see if you can shake any water out. And within an hour, it should be dry. Probably will work. Keyboards are pretty rugged, at least those types. Laptop keyboards are a little more sensitive. Yeah. Yeah.